saying out loud. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's episode.
Baby, I compare you to a kiss from a rose on the sea. You will be my power, my pleasure, my pain. Baby, some on the knee. Did you know that when it grows, what? Huh? Who said that? Ladies and gentlemen, listen. Welcome to Friday. Oh, top of the morning for you and all that jazz from everybody. We missed the episode yesterday. Listen, sometimes, being half Irish, or at least I pretend to be, it's more of a mix of German and Irish, but we hide the German side for the history. You try to celebrate St. Patty's Days. All right. Do I have a good Irish accent? No. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Friday. Listen. Sometimes when you're out there looking for a pot of gold, you get lost in the wonder. But may the sunshine always be on your face and the wind at your back and a prayer in your pocket. I'll be honest with you. I did not know what sentence I was going to say every time a sentence came out, and it just works, okay? Here's the thing with dropping Irish prayers. You just have to say it convincingly. You put it in that accent, and you just be like, aye, may the rain always fall on your nose, and may the pee never splash back on your hands. And only then do you smell your fingers. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Friday. Okay, if it's your first time here, welcome. Happy St. Patty's Day. If you enjoyed the festivities, why not? It's important to rest, recoup, have a little bit of fun every now and then. You can't really appropriate that, right? Isn't that a fascinating thing? I was on stage, and it's when I say I'm half Irish, half Puerto Rican, I get a woo at that Puerto Rican side. Puerto Ricans, proud people. White people, I haven't had anybody woo. Where I'm like, oh, are you Irish? Are you white? And no one's ever been like, fuck yeah, brother. You know why? Because culturally, not acceptable. People don't want to let the whites have any kind of proudness. You can't even say, hey, I got white pride. Everybody's going to be like, They just don't want to allow it. They don't want to have it. It's not okay by these standards. Because you know what? Throughout the history, the whites just won too much. That's what I would say. Is look at the 23andMe for a white person. It's a fucking scoreboard. You're doing a goddamn victory lap. If you want to actually, you want to look at the genome and find the history, you're like, oh, well, first we fucked up these people, took their stuff, took their boat across an ocean, fucked up those people, took their goddamn ships, fucked up those people, shot across the way, took the whites, But I feel like that's only the history that we know. Like, while everybody always like to point at white people. Everybody was fucking up everybody back in the day. There's still crazy shit that goes on in Africa. You hear about the pygmies? God bless the pygmies. Shout out to the big pygmy, Justin Wren, just doing the Lord's work out there in Africa. Bringing water to the people, to the pygmies who are treated. They're enslaved. Shit's terrible out there. That's one thing. You learn anything about another place and you're just like, oh, fuck, yeah, America. We definitely have it the easiest of a lot of places, Perspective is key. But getting back to the point, I don't hear a lot of people shouting out, whoa, I'm white. It's always followed by whoa, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for what is done, Just like, dude, just live. I'm tired of all this woke shit. The woke shit is over. All right? It's nap time, ladies and gentlemen. Nap time. I'm tired of people being woke. I'm tired of people apologizing for shit that they got nothing to do with. All right? This is the great awakening of the non-wokeness. The great napping, I want to call it. Welcome to not being woke. where we just get back to living and napping. Let's just all nap together like kindergarten, where you just throw a bunch of mats on the floor and you just snuggle up, okay? It might get weird. Try to get someone to lay next to your mat, and you're not gonna do anything weird because it's only kindergarten, but they gonna know, okay? They're gonna know, listen, nap time hits. You're napping next to my fucking mat. You're my fucking girl. We're going steady, okay? Just because, all right? The whole point I was making is that St. Paddy's Day, no one is like, remember everybody, do not imitate a leprechaun, okay? It is disrespectful to the Irish culture, and whatever you do, do not talk in an Irish accent. Do not bring up a pot of gold that is racist. And don't even think about wearing green. You guys are appropriating Paddy's culture. I gotta sneeze. Didn't happen, ladies and gentlemen. That was we had a blank. I still feel it in there. It's coming out at some point. But no, you know why? Because everybody's like, nah, it's white people. We can celebrate this. It's just Irish people. They're another version of the whites. And Irish people have a fucked up history. Everybody thinks the Irish were treated pretty fucking bad when they came to this country. Who are the entitled whites? Like, who are the whites that got all the good shit? Because I feel like they're still in Europe. Like, I feel like they're not even really here. You know? You gotta, like, it's those blue bloods. They're a bunch of blue buds over there. Just a bunch of buds that are blue bloods, you know? Bars. I feel like those are the ones we're supposed to be going after. Eat the rich. Go eat those motherfuckers. You fucking eat one of those, and it's going to taste like tea and fucking crumpets. I don't even know what a crumpet is, if I'm being honest with you. I thought crumpets was when you danced a certain way. Stupid. But those are the whites that everybody should be worried about. Those English folk. And I'm not talking about the poor ones. I'm talking about the rich ones. They just talk aggressively. Like whenever someone's just like this. Oh, really? You're having a go at me, are you? You're kind of a cheeky bastard. I could talk with them all day. It doesn't matter their level of intelligence. I would just trust anything they say, no matter what. That's why they narrate Planet Earth and everything, because we just trust what they're saying, and it just sounds so much better than everything we do. Like, we could not just have a regular person narrate Planet Earth and just be like, damn, this is nuts. Look at this fucking thing. No, it's got to be like, wow, this is cataclysmic. The amount of this glacier. And then like a fucking regular person just be like, that's a huge fucking ice cube, dude. That shit's about to fucking break. What? Dead ass? Dude, that ice cap ain't capping. Bars, you know? Stupid. What has this podcast become? This is just, it's always been what it is, okay? Everybody wants to have a podcast that's something, and, you know, it's got a theme and everything. No, this is 7 minutes in Evan, all right? And granted, I'll give you that it's not 7 minutes. And do you know how many people have told me just make the podcast 7 minutes? Okay. I got no rebuttal for that, because sometimes maybe it is too long. I have been thinking about refiguring out the podcast, refiguring it out. That's a great usage of the English language. But you know what? When you're homeschooled, you get a little bit of leeway, okay, with what words I decide to use. I'm a freestyle artist when it comes to the English language. I just throw shit together. I'm Picasso with this shit. It's an art project, okay? I like it. I have thought about restructuring the podcast and figuring out if there's a way to make one 45-minute episode a week rather than 2 30 minutes, and have it be more broken up into different segments. Have it more produced with different topics that are kind of, you know, going over them, and having it produced rather than a free thought process, open format where I just start and we talk about some discussions, some topics. I know some people like this, but I'd love to get people's opinion on what they thought about doing a different style of podcast, trying to play with it. And if it's not working out, we can always go back to these freestyle ones. I do need to start having guests again. It's fun having remote ones. I mean, it's fine, but there's nothing like actually in studio guests. It's so much better than just staring at someone at Zoom and then talking over them. And it's a weird disconnect, you know? But speaking of a weird disconnect, I got to tell you about this. We're going to take you into a little story time. A couple different things have happened. All right. This is a story. My family loves this story, and they would call me, I think it was Indiana Jones for the longest time. My brother, Sean, he had great input on what this story was. I was camping at this place called Thousand Trails. If you know it, it's a cool little spot in Acton, California. Shout out. And basically just hiking and a pool and just, there's a little fishing pond. I used to go, find tackle, and I would just literally get a hook and string on a piece of like a wood, and I put a little hot dog on the end, and then I just catch bluegills. Okay. There was different activities, stuff like that. Not important to the story. I'm just trying to paint a picture. But my family, we're camping there overnight in an RV. I'm on the top bunk, like above the drivers. In the RV, there's a sleeping compartment at the top. I was sleeping up there, and the dream is, and this is in the middle of the night. The dream is I'm Indiana Jones, and I'm swinging on vines. Then I wake up like I'm swinging on this vine, and all of a sudden my vine breaks. I wake up, I'm mid-air in the motorhome, flying halfway through the motorhome. I literally jumped and reached out like this, and I was completely vertical. Normally, I would never commit to this because I'm going to belly flop onto the ground. I lean forward like I'm reaching for this vine. The story perspective switches because my brother's sleeping on the floor. He hears something happening and wakes up to catch me capsizing him like I'm Shamu flying over him in a vertical. I completely clear him. I leap about 15 yards and I land in the kitchen right on top of a tool bag. I literally land where it lands in my stomach area, knocks the wind out of me, and I'm just like, and everybody wakes up because they're like, what do you do? What happened? And my brother's like, he flew like I'm goddamn Peter Pan. And my dad's like, what? And like the first thing I say is I just go, my vine broke. And they were just like, what? And then I started realizing what was happening. I was like, I was having a dream and my vine broke. And then I woke up in midair and I was just soaring through the sky. I'm surprised I didn't get that fucked up. Okay. Luck was on my side. All right. But it's always been a funny story that my family loved to tell. But you know what? Luck wasn't on my side last night. Okay. Because listen, and I blame this. This is what I blame. When you move in with someone, granted, my girl and I have been living together for a few years now. Different sleep schedules, different sleep cycles. I'm someone who has had issues sleeping without falling asleep to like a TV or something. And I've had this since I was younger. When I was a kid, I would just fall asleep watching Godzilla on repeat on this little like 10-inch TV. I just put it on at night and just watch movies all like till I fell asleep. So it created a bad habit. To now where it's very hard for me just to lay there and fall asleep. My mind races and I can't sleep. It usually takes a couple hours. But if I put something on that's kind of background noise and I can kind of pay attention, I just drift away. Drift away! Stupid. But last night I decided, you know what? She's been like, she doesn't get a good night's sleep when I have the TV on and the light and everything. So she like wants to spit in my mouth, not in a good way either. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to try to fix this because it's not only good for her But it's good for me because I know it's a superpower being able to fall asleep without something on. Those people who can just be like, all right, I'm gonna take a nap, and they'll just like lay on the couch. Who the fuck are you, psycho? Like, that's such a superpower. The people who fall asleep on airplanes, in cars, they can just be like, I'm gonna go down for a quick 20 minutes, and they actually fall asleep. Boy, I wish. Boy, I wish. Not your boy, okay? I lay there and I ponder life. I start thinking of slights. It doesn't work for me. My brain's like, I'm potato, I'm potato, I'm potato, I'm potato, I'm potato. And then it's just like, I'm thinking about when I got robbed for my potato. Anyway, listen. So I decide I'm going to fall asleep reading a book. I'm reading a book. I don't know if the book had anything to do with it. What am I reading right now? Robert Rodriguez, The Mariachi. Basically, his story of how he came up as a filmmaker and filming run and gun style filmmaking and shooting this movie in college in Mexico, El Mariachi. It was his first movie, and how he did everything run and gun style, all this blood and these action scenes and everything. So I'm wondering if this made me have this crazy dream, because there's one scene that he's talking about where he goes in the home and then like the girl's there and then like there's someone swinging and they're trapped and everything. But basically, I drift to sleep. It worked. I started falling asleep, turn to my I have like one of those little sunlight lamps. I turn that off. I'm laying there. I fall asleep. And this is where my mind goes. All of a sudden, I'm awake. There's this giant metal frame over the bed. And I'm like, what? What is this? All of a sudden, the frame comes down on my fiance. Like, I'm on the bed too, but it like traps her. And I don't know if it's on her or she's trapped inside, but I'm panicking because as I see it falling, I go to grab it over her with one hand and I'm trying to just fucking Hercules it like off of her. And I'm just like, and it's not budging at all. You know how in dreams you're just like, you can't move something? So then I go insane where I'm just like, like trying to get off. I jump up on the bed and I'm trying to pull this frame off. And then all of a sudden I'm like going crazy. I wake up. I'm midair, upside down, over my nightstand. I come to in the air, upside down. I fall on my nightstand. My thumb gets caught in the wood frame of the bed. My shoulder hits the bed frame. I fall down. My knee like hits hard, and I'm in like I rolled, and I'm like in the corner of the room, but I still don't know what's happening. And my fiance's like, "What the fuck? What's happened? Are you okay?" And I'm just like there because like I'm starting to realize, be like, okay, that wasn't okay. Now I'm awake. That was a dream. But it took me like 10 seconds to realize that. And I blame her not wanting me to watch TV to fall asleep. Okay, listen, you call down the thunder, that's what's going to happen. Okay, so that's the pro tip. Ladies, let your man live. I don't really blame that, but listen. My luck ran out because the last time I did this, I came out of it pretty scot-free. But this time, just to show you, if you're watching the video, look at this purple ass bruise I got. Maybe I'll put this as the thumbnail. Just look at that shit. A fucking boo-boo. That's a real fucking boo-boo right there. Purple bruise and everything. Shit got me fucked up. Look at my thumb. My thumb's all fucked up. Look at this one. That thumb's real fucked up. Okay? If you don't know, I have one fucked up thumb. When I was a little kid, I tried going to look at the birdies. That was one of my favorite pastimes. Your boy is a bird obsessed. If you've heard the way I've talked about pigeons, I love all birds. Bird watching, bird anything, okay? Ugh. And I love it out here in Texas, I'll be honest with you. The bird watching here, because we're in the middle of the country, kind of, you get all the birds migrating. So you get a nice balance of different kinds of birds that are coming through here. But when I was a little kid, my thumb is really fucked up. I don't know if you can see that, if you're watching the video, I know it's not focusing, but anyway, I have a fucked up looking thumb. And it's because when I was a kid, I was trying to look at the birds and I put this, a foldable ladder up against the wall. and climbed up it. But I had it reversed, where the folding was folding the wrong way because I was a dumb kid and I don't read instructions. So then it collapses while I'm holding onto it and it crushes my thumb. When I say it crushes my thumb, I mean my thumb is like almost flattened, just completely the bone, ripped the nail off, everything. Or didn't rip it off completely. That's a different part of the story. And blood is coming out of my thumb. It's like insane. I'm in shock. I remember I run inside. I run to my mom and I go, ah! And I show her the thumb and she smacks me. She fucking smacks me. So then I'm like, ah, because I'm screaming. They have to take me to the, urgent care, emergency room, whatever. And they had to do like this emergency thing on my thumb because it was so fucked up, where they had to give me something like 40 shots in my finger. And they were brutal. They had to like numb everything. And then they had to laser my thumbnail on because they had to drain all the pressure out of my thumb because it was expanding too much. I had something like 17, it was like broken in like 17 spots or some shit. Like I had to wear a crazy thumb thing for a while, like a thumb brace, a little fucking brace, like my thumb had little crutches and shit. And I remember it was brutal because they kept holding me down to try to get these because I was a kid and I was just like a feral animal. You know, you ever seen like a squirrel get inside? Happened once when I was growing up. A squirrel got inside. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. Wow, I got a new pet. Until you realize squirrels aren't supposed to be inside because they're not cute and fluffy once they're inside. They turn into little Tasmanian devils. It was running up the walls, everything just jumping and everything. And I was like, get this thing the fuck out of here. That's what I was like in this doctor's office. And they're holding my arm down. And I remember I kept getting away because they didn't want to like try to hold me too much. So they made my dad hold my arm. And I remember looking at him like it was the part in The Godfather when I was like, I knew it was you, Fredo. And you broke my heart. I remember looking up at him and I'm like, you gonna let them do this to me, Poppy? To your little corazón? And it was brutal. And then they kept testing it to see if it was numb. So they would feel my finger and be like, do you feel this? And I'd be like, no, but I'd be lying. And then he'd be like, he knew I could kind of feel it by the way I was reacting. So he would squeeze a little harder and I'd go, and then I'd be like, fuck. And then he'd have to give me more shots in my thumb. All because they just needed to split my thumbnail down the middle and go through and actually like use this laser to just completely release everything. At least that's how I kind of remember it. Okay. I was on mushrooms. Portobello at the time. I'm still in the market. Listen, your boy is still planning on trying to somehow microdose. I'm going to go either to a clinic, a place where it's legal, and do it. And that's the plan while I'm on the podcast. But I'm excited to try it. I've been talking to people. I haven't seen any downside. And your boy's ready to see the universe, you know? Step out of that and just become a better person. Just live off the land, you know? Be in touch with the universe. Out there playing butt tickle with the planets. What? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, listen. Went to boxing this morning. Had a great workout. I feel good. I feel good right now. All right. Something going on in Austin right now is South by Southwest. Apparently, it's different every year. It's a pretty cool event. I went for the first time. I went with a fellow comedian, Shannon Sims. Shout out. He was supposed to be on the podcast, but he's a diva and didn't want to do a remote podcast. So he's just really attached to me. So he's like, I want to come to your house. And I'm like, bro, you're doing too much, you know? Shout out Shannon. But this man is the craftiest person I've ever seen in a event where you can get free stuff. This man snuck us into so many different events, so many different conferences, things going on, getting us free food, just finding random rooms with free drinks and things that happening. And I was just like, what? How are we in here right now? And just, you know, random stuff. But South by Southwest is actually pretty cool. And the more, I'm hard on Austin sometimes, but it also is because I don't go to the right things sometimes. My version of Austin, what happens is I go into Austin, I do stand up, might have to deal with some weird, super liberal people that don't like jokes, deal with crowds that like just don't want to hear anything controversial, and then I drive home. But there is a very cool tech side of Austin that I'm just starting to crack into, in the sense of realizing all the cool stuff that happens and the things that they do. I've known there was a tech boom happening in Austin, but I haven't given Austin its due. Okay, it's a very cool place with a lot of innovation, and I'm very curious to see. I hope, and this is where Texas has done very well, is maintaining a balance. Everything's a balance. Everything should be a conversation. I hope that Austin can maintain some level of balance between either political, it's weird saying political, but I just mean a balance of free thought and ideas. I really enjoy areas that are balanced. I don't need something to be completely right wing. I don't necessarily want that, because I think if something's too hard one way, no, I don't want something that's completely liberal and left side, because then you're going to get San Fransisco. You're going to get all this tech world and everything, but with these, it needs to be balanced out. So I'm hoping that Austin can have a balance of, not in a political sense, but just a life sense of liberty, and stay rational, because it really can, in the next 5 years, be a very cool place with a lot of cool ideas and a lot of things coming out of it, if it can maintain that. And I know that's weird, me speaking about it like I just got here. But it seems like it's at a fork in the road. And from what I, when I talk to people, what Austin was 20 years ago was one of the dopest places ever, where you do have people who are Republican, Democratic, and they all work together. They understand each other. They're balanced. What you kind of see from a younger generation is like a super unbalanced, liberal, aggressive way. And it's like, it has me go back and forth on this quote all the time that, what is it? Hard times make hard men make easy times make weak men make strong or hard times. And it like goes in these cycles of like, if these people, that's why you see like one person who's super innovative and hard worker, and they start a family, and maybe their kids have that work ethic that they gave, but then you see the grandkids that have a complete disconnect from that, have an easier upbringing, and then you see the next generation completely disconnected from any kind of that work ethic. They are entitled, they don't have any work ethic, and they also have I'm entitled to everything, and my opinion matters, even though I don't have any validation with it, in the sense of I've earned value of my opinion. And that's something that I think is happening with younger people, myself included. Like, I still consider myself very young. I'm just kidding. But I include myself in that there's people in my generation, and it's something that I even try to do. Is I know I'm not perfect, and I'm not this like pinnacle and pillar of like hard work and determination. Like, I don't have sensitivities and faults and an ego and things that I need to check and always try to get better with. But I feel like there is a thing, and it's the idea that starts going around where we wanted to create all these safe spaces. We want to create all this idea of people being completely respected just for existing. And while there's something with that, there's such a thing that's being left out. And it's like trials and tribulations and hard work and challenges and rites of passages that are, I feel, being left out of a younger generation, where anxiety develops, where depression develops. Because what's the point? You ever played a video game with the with like cheats on it, and you're just like, well, this is boring. I have everything, no, there's no challenge. There's no feeling uncomfortable. And I think that's where anxiety and depression and all this stuff can come into, is where there's nothing that is challenging you, nothing that you're working hard for, nothing that you're proud of to get. That's one thing that has been satisfying, is doing my own thing and not having things given to me. Not feeling like, oh, I got this because of that, but by, building a business and just working hard, I feel so much more validated as a person. And I also am more sure of myself and my own survival because I've done those things. If I just had, I couldn't imagine being born with the world being your oyster. And I feel like those are why those people are always depressed, is because it wasn't a challenge. And I think the same thing goes for younger people. When people joke about bring bullying back, but we need to bring adversity. Everybody shouldn't just not fall in line, and everybody should respect people. And obviously I'm not talking about racism or real bullying and stuff like that. But I don't know. We've just gotten weird. And I don't know what the whole fucking point of that was. Okay. Oh, maintaining. I feel like when we don't experience hardships, we have no perspective for what hardships really are. So we get a little wacky with what we think inclusion and everything should be. That's something that I've experienced, is inclusion to the point of seclusion. And it's a weird world. When you start doing certain things for just this appearance, it's a signal that you're virtuosely doing, What the fuck do I know, ladies and gentlemen? Listen, I know this episode came out on a Friday. We're still going to play with the format. We're going to see what we do next week. But I just want you guys to know this. I love you. I miss you. And I hope you guys have a great fucking weekend. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And remember, no matter what, even though I just said it, I still love you.